Okay, now child support is somewhat different. Child support's been legislated into existence by the government back in 1988. We got back then the child support assessment legislation and a separate piece of child support collection legislation, which was since modified in 2006 and 2008. The current formula is a little more fair, shall we say, and distributes the load a little better than what the early formula did in 88. This, however, sets the sum of money that's required to be paid for children. It's not about need and ability to pay, as was the case with spousal maintenance. There's a formula that contains within it three major things. The first is the child support amount that's relevant to the child or children in your marriage. The second is the first of the proportion calculations. Now, it's a proportion calculation that is about the relativity of your two incomes. You'll recall that we've spoken in an earlier session about the fact that today most parents are both working. So the relationship that each of their incomes have forms a proportion calculation to determine part of how much of the child support amount should be paid by each parent. The second proportion calculation, and the one with the most contention about it, I might add, is the amount of time that these children spend in each parent's care. The relationship between each of these three things brings about the level of payment required and from which parent the payment's to go to. That is, if we take, for example, a situation where we've got a father on $75,000 a year and a mother on $26,000 a year that works part-time, the proportion calculation over income's obviously going to weigh in her favour. If, however, Dad's spending a significant amount of time caring for the children, the second proportion calculation may balance that up. Now, I know this sounds complex, but there's a relatively easy way on the web to check what your obligation might be. The Child Support Agency is in fact an arm of the Tax Office. Now, on the ATO's website you should find a link to child support, and there's a calculator on that child support website. Anything else you need to know about how this works, how it might be reviewed, how your relationship with the Child Support Agency might work, are all matters that we can discuss with you in more detail than we've got time to do here. What we'd encourage you to do is, if you've got a problem like this with the CSA, please come and see us. We do a thing called a fixed fee consult that allows us sufficient time to examine what you need to know in a 1.5 to 2 hour session. We find those sessions are valuable in upskilling yourself and providing you with the information that you need to be able to make informed choices.